Hello, my crafty friends. It's Marie from Marie's Vermont Creations, and today I am creating a card for the card Hoppin' A Year of Fun Themes and Techniques card hop for May. And I'm going to be using these two Kindred stamp sets with, that popular movie. The theme for this month was masculine, and the techniques were either ombre or monochromatic. And I went with monochromatic, and I'm going to make two cards. So I am taking some distress ink from my stash. I believe this, I don't remember the color, it's a brown color. And this is Stampin' Up! Paper from way back in the day. It's some stars that have been embossed in clear on some white paper. So I am just inking them up so that I can have the stars pop. And you could create this yourself if you wanted to heat emboss with clear embossing powder with whatever design you wanted. Heat it, and then you can ink blend over it and it will resist that color. So I'm just wiping off the excess ink that might be on top of those stars, and I am going to use some liquid glue and adhere this down to the slightly larger brown panel to go with that. And then I am going to stamp down the Wookiee character and the happy Father's Day sentiment. I opted to make two Father's Day cards with this technique, so with just a little twist on each one, using some different products from my stash. So then I'm just liquid gluing this down to this darker brown cardstock, which is the full size of an A2 card. And so then I'll set that aside and take in a cream colored piece of cardstock. I went with browns for this first one. And I'm going to put it in my MISTI, and I did leave my mistake in here. I'm slightly off. I'm just setting up the stamps, and then I'm going to use the same distress ink that I did my ink blending on to do the stamping. And I'm not sure if it's when I lifted the lid or what I did, or when I readjusted the magnet here, that piece of paper is not going to be in the corner anymore. So it's very important that you make sure to double check that your paper is indeed in the corner of the MISTI. And I should have known it because the stamp was a little bit off to the right when I go to stamp it down, and yet I stamped it anyway. So when I pick it up, the words aren't on there correctly, which I had made sure to make sure that it would be on there where I wanted it to be. So paper has two sides, so I just flipped it over, inked it back up, and made sure multiple times that the piece of paper was actually in the corner of the MISTI, and stamped it down. And so I just went with the brown ink. You could do any color that you wanted, but I figured I would keep with the monochromatic theme and use the same color of ink. So then I'm just going to adhere this down with some white glue to the matte piece, and then I will take some foam squares and cover the back of this and place it onto the card front. I was debating here whether I needed extra foam dots on one side, because some of it does lay on the other two pieces of cardstock, and in the end I ended up just putting an even layer all over the back of it, and it's not that noticeable. If I had some thinner foam square options, I would have done an extra layer to the right hand side so that it would have been more flush, but like I said, in the end I didn't worry about it. I didn't have any embellishments that would truly go with this. I was hoping I had some stars in a brown, but I didn't in my stash, so I opted to leave any extra embellishments off, let the stamping and the embossing stars shine instead. So that, once I get this adhered down to a card front, will complete this card. And like I said, this is a full panel, so my trick is I'll put the wet glue on, and then I will lay both of the items on my desk so that they're flush, and then press them together so that I can get them as even as possible. And then off camera I did trim just a slight bit off the right hand side because my card panel was cut a little bit too big. So then for my second card, I am going to be using some VersaFine ink, which I believe is in Morning Mist, to stamp out again the Happy Father's Day and the Vader character. I did have to stamp the Vader a couple of times in order to get a good impression with it. I'm not quite sure. Could be my magnets were in the way. But once I get that all stamped down, I'm going to adhere it to a darker gray panel just to mat it. That's the beauty of the Misty. You can stamp multiple times. If I had to do that with a stamping block, I would have had to do it 3 times over. So I'm going to glue that down. So this is part of a hop. So the next person who is in the hop will be listed down below. And I hope that you'll check out everyone's creations. I absolutely love this hop because everyone comes up with some amazing things. And so this is a 3D embossing folder that I put some tin foil into. And so it gives it this nice geometric look. And so I'm going to take some mini glue dots to adhere this down, because I figured if I ran a dry tape runner over it, I would run the risk of smushing the design out of the tin foil. So I'm just going to put some in the corners and some in the center so that I'd try to get it adhered down in at least all of the important sections of it without making too much of a mess of it. And so then I'm just going to gently place it down onto my card base, which is just a standard A2 size card. And I'm just going to press it gently because I don't want to, disturb the design that's in there. You could do this with some thicker tinfoil and it probably would not be as delicate. So then I'm going to use those same foam squares and put this image and sentiment down into the center of this to complete that project. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. The next person, like I said, will be listed down below in the hop. I will also post the entire lineup, so if you get lost along the way, you can make your way back. And I hope you check everyone out and enjoy everyone's projects. We can always use masculine inspiration. And as always, I hope that y'all have a great day.